the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Follow the Money is brought to you by Profit X, and right now their King of March promotion is giving bettors a shot at free trips worth up to $10,000. Use the promo code VSiNMM to get started with Profit X. We begin the hour by going out to the Progressive guest line. Nick Whalen joins the program now with RotoWire, also co-host Prop Points, Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern right here on VSiN. Hey, Nick, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing well, guys. Doing well. I mean, no complaints about how the Elite Eight played out over the weekend. We got ourselves a nice little NBA slate tonight. I'm ready to hit it. Pretty good slate overall.
Before I know you have a prop tonight that you like on Wemby. Before we get into that, what do you make of the odds movement with the MVP? And now it's starting to drift a little bit back towards SGA. He's about a $4 favorite, but that came all the way down to minus 210 over the weekend.
Yeah, and I think, less than a week ago, he was minus 800, maybe even north of that at some books. So we have seen some movement here. You know, it's coincided, of course, with Wembanyama coming out and making his case for why he should be in the MVP conversation, which, I think is generally frowned upon, right? I'm not really sure why. We typically see players deflect when they're asked about that, but I thought it was interesting when, a reporter said, hey, what are the bullet points? If you were making your case for why you're the MVP, and he didn't blow it off. You could tell he thought about it. It almost was like he had these things ready to go, and he kind of made his own case. And I do think those are the type of headlines that could grab the attention of voters. A lot of his case, of course, is rooted in the defensive impact, but something we've talked about a lot, guys, in this spot throughout the season is, for so long, SGA had the advantage of being on the best team. And we just assumed OKC would be 10 games better than every other team in the West. And, maybe that would be the tiebreaker between him and Jokic and Wembanyama and Luka, because the counting stats are ridiculous for all those guys. But the Spurs winning games, they just don't lose anymore, guys. The rate at which they're winning, I think, has to be considered. I mean, OKC has been playing great over the last couple of months, and it's still just a 2.5 game gap right now in the Western Conference. I mean, both teams are on pace to win well over 60 games. So, you do wonder, is there maybe a little bit of voter fatigue, even though SGA just won his first last year? We do run into that in the NBA, as you guys know. I mean, it feels like it's kind of been Wembanyama's season more than it's been SGA's. And I think SGA missing the amount of time that he did is what has allowed Wembanyama back into this race. I would be totally fine voting for Victor Wembanyama if I had a vote. I do think SGA ends up winning it, but I also think, guys, this is going to be one of those MVPs, especially if it does go to Shea, that we end up relitigating depending on how the playoffs go.
Yeah, good point. And also this crazy move has happened in the last 2 weeks from 22-1 down to plus 220, because every night, you mentioned the press conference, but he's filling up the box score, points, rebounds, and the blocks. And tonight against the Bulls, you want to look at his blocks and steals.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Wembanyama is, for one, he's putting up numbers every single night, much like SGA, but the Spurs are just handling business. Like, you just have no concerns. The Spurs are never in like a close game with a team that they shouldn't be in a close game with. They just go out and hammer these teams every single night. Kind of a unique spot against Chicago. We got a huge number. Everybody expects the Spurs to continue rolling, which I do as well. But I'm looking at the over 4.5 blocks plus steals. Pretty reasonable price over at DraftKings. Chicago is the most blocked team in the NBA, guys, over the last 10 games. Okay. They're also top 5 in steals allowed. Wembanyama's gone over this number just in blocks in 3 of his last 4 games. I think part of it is, he's making a concerted charge for the MVP, right? Even in a spot where the Spurs know they could go out and, give 80% effort and probably win this game easily. That's not really how Wembanyama is wired. And even though he's not playing big minutes every night, that's what makes this even more impressive to me, is he's putting up these numbers in under 30 minutes per game. Even if this does turn into a blowout, I mean, this is conceivably something he could go over in the first half, if we're being realistic. You look back at the first matchup with Chicago earlier in the season, 5 blocks and 1 steal in that game, which was a blowout win for the Spurs.
Pretty decent. Yeah. So I'm looking at the injury report, I'm looking at overnight night numbers, and this morning I'm thinking to myself, why is Detroit catching up to 14 points against Oklahoma City? Bad spot for the Thunder. Pistons still playing for the 1 seed. Then you see the injury report. Hold on a second. You're like, everybody's out. But Paul Reed's going to be playing here tonight. This is, I think, a good catch by you. What's the angle here with Paul Reed then?
Yeah, so Detroit sitting guys on the back-to-back, Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, Jalen Duren, all out. They will have Asar Thompson, and then obviously Isaiah Stewart and Cade Cunningham out for legitimate injury purposes. I like Paul Reed over 12.5 points, guys. We talked about this on Prop Points earlier today, and I like it even more now that a couple pieces are out for OKC, including Isaiah Hartenstein. So he and Jalen Williams will sit out on the second night of a back-to-back for the Thunder. I think it's easy to look at this game and think, okay, no Cade Cunningham, Detroit's resting other starters, how are they going to score on this OKC defense? They're going to score. We see this every night in the NBA. Paul Reed is somebody that when the opportunity has been there, has always stepped up, dating back to his days, even with the Philadelphia 76ers. So he's going to be the guy at center. And OKC is down, one of its best big men in Isaiah Hartenstein. So over 12.5 points on Paul Reed. I was sniffing around maybe the over 9.5 for Karis LeVert. Again, somebody's gonna put up production for the Detroit Pistons tonight, but Reed is my top play if you're looking for any way to play Detroit in what should be kind of a weird game with so many guys resting.
That was a nice come-from-behind win for the Sixers over the weekend, and Maxey was great, Embiid and George. Now they got everyone back, and it seems every time you look, Miami's losing, giving up a ton of points. What do you think of the Sixers tonight and a player prop you like in that game?
Yeah, it would be very Southeast Division with how that's gone for the Miami Heat to just show up and win this game tonight. But I just don't know how you confidently back Miami right now. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games. They get crushed by Cleveland the other night. Yeah. And then you have the ultimate bounce back spot against the Pacers yesterday. Ooh. And you get blown out by the Indiana Pacers, who are not interested in winning games at this point. So I don't know what's going on with Miami. I think you have to like the Sixers here, and you have to like Tyrese Maxey, who missed a decent chunk of time, came back, and in typical Nick Nurse fashion, immediately played 43 minutes. No training wheels whatsoever as he comes back from the injury. So I like Maxey over 26.5 points. Mike has been playing at one of the places in the NBA all season long. Sixers will probably slow it down a little bit now with Embiid back, but for so long, the Heat had been threading the needle where they're playing fast, but they're also playing great defense on a per possession basis. That has completely faded away. I mean, they're a borderline bottom 5 defense over the last month.
All right. On that note, with the 76ers, they had a really good win, and this killed me, Paul.
Yep.
At Charlotte on Saturday to come back and win that game.
Yep.
So they're getting healthy now and a full complement of players, and it looks good with this team. You want to get nuts in what appears to be a wide open East by thinking that the 76ers might be worth a bet to actually win that conference.
Would I take it at the cost? Sure, because it is enough of a long shot. But I think we've been through this too many times, right? Every single year, we talk ourselves into, what this team could look like when they're healthy. And even if they make it out of round 1, we get to round 2, and all of a sudden Joel Embiid is limping around, and you just see the writing on the wall as far as the ceiling of this team. Now, I will say what feels different this year compared to years past is that Tyrese Maxey is no longer this, young future star. He is actually an NBA star. He's been one of the 5 or 6 best players in the NBA this season, so that they're less reliant on Joel Embiid staying completely healthy than they've been in the past. Paul George started off pretty rocky this season, has actually played pretty well, suspension aside, over the second half. It all comes down to Embiid. Could I see the Sixers winning a series, especially if they get the 8 seed and match up against Detroit and Cade Cunningham's not out there, he's not 100%. I could see it. I could see them taking down a team like Cleveland that still looks shaky to me, but can they get through the Knicks? Can they get through the Celtics? Can Joel Embiid stay healthy for 2 straight months?
No.
Ultimately, I wouldn't necessarily bet on it. Again, the price is appealing. I could see the upside, but we've just been down this road too many times before.
Okay, fair enough. How about a long shot tonight? Luka's suspended. Lakers played with their food against Brooklyn on Friday. That's the thing about these teams tanking. They did, in the fourth quarter, there's shenanigans if the game's tight. And the next thing you know, they're down 15. What do you think about LeBron without Luka out, if he can do some damage and fill up the box score?
Yeah, well, that kind of helps us, I think, some ways in the prop market. Like the Lakers are the anti-Spurs, where you almost expect them to be in a close game with the Wizards or the Pacers or whoever it may be, because they do just mess around so much. And especially without Luka, I think there is opportunity tonight. So the first place I would look for LeBron, over 15.5 rebounds plus assists. If you use our on-off tool at rotowire.com, you'll see a big jump in assists, almost 3 more per 36 minutes when he's on the court with Reeves without Luka Doncic. Still gets a bump in rebounds, but it's a little bit more modest. I would take a stab, though, plus 560 at DraftKings. I have not looked at other prices. Maybe you could find this closer to 6-1. Why not a LeBron triple-double tonight? It's the Washington Wizards. They might be the worst defensive team in the NBA. They're playing no defense. They play quickly. I think that plays into the Lakers' hands. LeBron is averaging 16, 9, and 8 over his last 5 games. He had a triple-double in there against the Miami Heat. He was 1 rebound away against Detroit. He was an assist and a rebound away against the Indiana Pacers. And he did have a triple-double, guys, the last time Luka Doncic sat out. That was back on February 12th. 28 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists against the Dallas Mavericks in a 20-point win. He still played enough minutes in that scenario. So plus 560, I think it's worth a stab tonight.
MGM, the way it looks, 7-1, Nick, on that.
Okay. So, there we go. Even better.
Yep. How was your bracket looking, by the way? Who'd you have winning the whole thing?
Well, the one redeeming quality about my bracket, guys, is I have Arizona winning the whole thing. The rest of the bracket has been a complete disaster. I picked a bad year to, throw some 12, some 13 seeds, pulling upsets early on. I think I had Troy beating Nebraska. So once, that was like the first game of the tournament. Like once that game went like it did, I think the writing was on the wall for how the old Whalen bracket would turn out. So I am not in danger by any means of winning any bracket pools.
Okay. Even though Arizona could still take it down for you and win the whole thing.
It'll make me look a little bit more respectable, but we're not in the money right now.
Save some face there. Nick, thank you. Best of luck tonight and this week. We appreciate that.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Nick Whalen was on the Progressive Guest Line. He hosts Prop Points Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern time right here on VSiN.
Did they offer props for the women as well? Because the one seed, two of the one seeds are already in, and they're both playing tonight, the other 2 one seeds, and South Carolina's laying 14, and Texas is laying 10, I think. I didn't see. I mean, it appears we're going to get all 4 one seeds with the women. And then UConn's laying 28 in an Elite 8 game.
I know this.
They're not covering, though. They didn't cover.
But still.
That's outrageous.
Laying 28 to go to the Final Four.
They're minus 240 here to win it all. And you said John Murray makes them a double-digit favorite against UCLA.
Yeah, they did.
If that's the final.
They did a couple weeks ago. I mean, I don't think much has probably changed from that.
So I believe they would play South Carolina, form holds. But that's... Man.
Yeah, I know. All right, today's Major League Baseball card is next. K-props must be under consideration against this team as they set an all-time record to begin the season. Find out who that is coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Full slate of games today in Major League Baseball. There is one ongoing right now, top of the fourth. Kansas City's remodeled ballpark.
What do you think? Looks great.
Yeah, it does.
It's a big deal.
They lead Twins 2-1 right now, and they are actually, did I say top of the fourth? I meant bottom of the fourth. Caglione is up to the plate right now. 2 home runs so far in the game, one by the Royals and one by the Twins.
So they moved the fences in left and right field 9 to 10 feet. They lowered the wall by 18 inches. If you go back the last 4 years, that cost Perez 19 home runs and 230 home runs overall.
No, that's a lot.
It is. This is a big deal. This has really become a beautiful ballpark. You remember when they were a juggernaut in the 80s with that AstroTurf, and the thing was, it wasn't a good-looking park, but they remodeled this several times, and now the changes with the fences, moving it in, and also shortening the wall. It's a good-looking park, but we've had the 2 home runs, and also there's 30-mile-per-hour winds, so we'll see if the home runs continue.
All right, so some observations from the opening weekend and what that might mean for a bet today. I'll begin with the A's, what happened to them against the Blue Jays, and now spinning forward here as they get the Braves starting today. If you were not paying attention to Major League Baseball at all since opening day, here's what happened to the Sacramento/Las Vegas A's. They struck out 50 times overall against the Blue Jays. 32 of those strikeouts came against the opposing starters for Toronto. Gossman had 11, Cease had 12, Lauer had 9 overall. It was one right after another. This is, for comparison, Mason Miller led the majors with a 44.4% K rate last season. The A's just struck out 45.5% of their plate appearances against the Blue Jays. Rooker, 1 for 13, 8 strikeouts.
Yep.
Nick Kurtz put the ball in play twice in the first 3 games, 1 for 9, 7 strikeouts. So I had to look at Elder today for the Braves. When the numbers first came out, that was one of the first things that I wanted to do, and I did. I have him in pocket over 4.5 Ks today. I played that at minus 20 cents. Put that on the VSiN picks page earlier today.
Good. There's a lot of guys off to these type of starts that are struggling. Henderson is 1 of 12. Bichette was 1 of 14. They were booing him. He said, I was surprised. but I understand I've had some awful at-bats. So there's a lot of – and how about Rodriguez with the Mariners? Naylor's 0 for 15. Rodriguez 1 of 15.
Right.
So there are some pathetic starts from some big-name players out there.
Oh, by the way, Sunday Night Baseball last night for that game, Mariners and Guardians, again, could have gotten lost very easily because of the Elite Eight and everything like this.
Mm-hmm.
This Emerson Hancock for the Mariners, he developed a sweeper in the offseason. I'm not exaggerating, folks. He threw one of the nastiest pitches I've ever seen in my entire life last night. All you need to know is watching Cal Raleigh, who's a Gold Glove catcher, try to respond to it. It completely twisted Cal Raleigh to the point of where he almost fell down trying to catch the ball. He was that confused by he had 9 strikeouts. His prop, I think, was 3.5.
Okay.
That is something to absolutely look at moving forward. I mean, I saw that. I had watched that pitch 20 times on Twitter last night. Like, how the hell does a pitcher get a ball to do that? So there's that. The Ballpark Pal numbers at VSiN.com, they like Holmes. That's the number one K prop that they like today. It was over 3.5, I believe, minus 125 earlier today, going tonight for the Mets. And I would bookmark that and look at that every single day now. And by the way, the new look at the website, VSiN.com, whether you're looking at the odds page or the Opta AI stats, absolutely phenomenal. Looks terrific. And then they give you value plays and strong plays every day in Major League Baseball. Go check it out. It's open right now when you go to VSiN.com and check out the player prop projections in Major League Baseball. And so last night also, Pauly, the Guardians playing in that Sunday night game. There's been a thing now for several years, like after that game, when you play on Monday and you change cities, which is what they're doing to go to they're taking on the Dodgers tonight in Los Angeles. That's the bad news, is that teams in this spot have not won a lot of games going back. The good news is they're getting Sasaki tonight, who had an ERA of 15 in spring training.
Yes.
He allowed 15 earned runs and 15 walks in 8 2/3 innings. That's it. Dodgers are laying about $1.85 in this game.
Seems cheap for the Dodgers, but you have to respect Cleveland's organization. They're always in the mix, but there's a lot of guys who were awful in spring training, and we'll see if they can get to him tonight. That one's tough. What's Ohtani's reach base 34 games in a row? He was $1.20 over the weekend at walk. First appearance, walk.
Oh, is that right?
First at bat, walk. Yep. So it's hard to go against the Dodgers, but if you want to do it against Sasaki, okay. Are the Giants going to get anything going? One run so far in the season?
So is that bad Giants? Is it really good Yankees? Is it a combination of both? The Yankees pitching can be good at the front end, and
I think it's bad Giants though too.
Probably
they can break out of it. But there's also on the flip side, there's some great stories about what's happened. Sal Stewart, he's reached base 10 of 13 at bats. Peterson hits 500 career against Bassett. Seager's off to a good start.
Mm-hmm.
Weimer's off to a good start. He's reached in all 8 at bats. He's 6 for 6 on the season. So there are some guys that are off to a good start, and maybe you can take advantage if this continues with what's going on from a prop standpoint. If some of these unknowns or guys are continuing to reach base and get it done and cash some props.
Mm-hmm.
I also mentioned how good the Dodger pen has been too. If it's a short night for Sasaki, maybe you're okay because of how good the pen has been.
Yeah.
So
they'll have somebody in place, obviously, to come in. If he can last like 2 1/3 or whatever it is, it's not going well. Is it Roblinski, I believe?
Yeah.
They can go long relief there.
Or, how about some teams that we expected to be bad and they lived up to the hype? So the White Sox got swept and the Rockies got swept. Now it's Chris Paddock tonight, who I don't want any part of him, with the Marlins. But you go back and look, since June 13th of last year, Miami is 57-42. That's a better record than the Dodgers and Yankees. But you have to back Paddock, and he's going against Martin. And then the other one is, what the Blue Jays did. They got off to the hot start, and they're playing the god-awful Rockies, and they're laying 275. It's Cody Ponce for the Blue Jays. Good scouting here. Good job. 17-1 last year in the KBO. He won the MVP and the Cy Young. So how does that come over and translate? And does maybe he dominator of a big year for the Blue Jays? And see how this, he's taking on a minor league outfit now, too. So maybe he can just punch them out. And again, the bats are so good, they won't have a problem. But this goes back to what we talked about on Friday, that this March-April market, most wins. 4 of the first 5 series are playing the worst teams in baseball.
Oh, I know, that's the thing. So Circa was only offering most wins in April. It was not March and April.
Yeah, that's big.
So the first number that I saw was 22-1. The problem with that is that means that you don't get the 5 games to begin the year against the A's and the Rockies. And that's why the Blue Jays were as low as 8-1, and I think as high as maybe 11-1 at DK or Caesars Will Hill, offering one of those numbers at 11-1 to have the most wins in March and April combined. That's the one that I wanted to look at because you got those first 5 games included. But I expect this team to be a player again this season. I think the East is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a great race. And I think the Yankees are going to be right there in it as well. And speaking of them, pitching again was so good. Judge only 2 of 13 so far at the plate, but a couple of home runs. He's dingered in each of his last 2 games. He has reached base safely in 9 out of his 15 career plate appearances against Luis Castillo, who was taking the bump tonight for the Mariners. And overall, 4 of 10, 1 home run, 5 walks against Castillo. Raleigh also 2 of 15 with 10 strikeouts in 4 games.
Yeah.
Judge in 25 career games at T-Mobile Park. Slash line of 322, 448, 767, 11 home runs, an OPS of 1215, his second best at any park where he's played at least 10 times. The only one higher is Rate Field with the White Sox. And a side note, Castillo's K rate, going back to 2023 to last year, it has dropped from 27.3%, 24.3%, and a career low 21.7%. You're never going to get a good number on Judge to go deep. But tonight would be that night? Question mark?
Yeah.
Or Castillo K's under in the game?
You could do that.
Or maybe just bet the Yankees to win the game, I guess.
Yeah. You could do. How about the Giants? They haven't been 0-4, started season 0-4 since 1950. They take on the Friars.
Wow.
I mean, that was a bad start. Can the Brewers keep this up? 29 runs in the first 3 games.
I know. It's I believe I saw it's the 7th time since 2004 where a team has scored that many runs. Like, it doesn't happen very often. And they were getting tons of hits. Again, that was the White Sox, but people had high expectations for Chicago this year. And I never really expected a drop-off for Milwaukee. We'll see what it's like tonight with Kyle Harrison, who's been given up on by a couple of different teams, and he was a really good prospect for the Giants. He went over in that deal for Devers to the Red Sox. If they can get anything out of him, that's just a complete bonus for the team this year.
Yep. The wind is howling out at Wrigley tonight, too. 25 miles per hour.
Boy.
It might be home run derby there tonight. We're brought to you by Profit X. If you're not on Profit X, now's the time. Sign up by April 6th. Purchase at least $25 and get free $25. Jump in their King of March contest. Use the code VSiNMM. Download Profit X now. Code VSiNMM. Make your first purchase and take your shot at becoming the King of March. Get up there now.
College hoops with Dalen Cuff coming up next. Illinois has better numbers overall than UConn. But how much of that is negated with Dan Hurley's coaching success in the tournament? We'll ask him coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
College basketball here. Final Four looming. Great games. On paper anyway, a couple of 2-point spreads. We go out to the progressive guest line. Dalen Cuff is kind enough to join us again here on a Monday following the weekend that was with Turner Sports and the Field of 68. Hey, Dalen, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm doing well, boys. Great to be on with you again.
Yep, back at you. So a lot of blame has gone around, obviously, in the last 24 hours for Duke and how this possibly happened again. Where do you think it should go, and who do you think is to blame the most?
I always come in this from a player's perspective, and you're coached to do the right things. And they made. Let's just go to the last play. It's the game did not come down to that last possession, but people want John Shire to call a timeout there, or said that you don't call a timeout when they didn't handle the press great, but they got it reversed out of a trap. You got it, Dame Sarr. He snapped at the boozer in the middle of it, and at that point, you just dribble parallel to your basket. Like, you're not trying to score. You let them foul, or you just hold the ball. You don't need to dribble it.
Right.
He just wasn't comfortable in that situation, and that happens sometimes with freshmen. Freshman pressure makes you burst or makes you become a diamond, and he made a mistake, and I feel awful for him. Credit Caravan not chucking it, throwing it back to Mullins, and it didn't matter that Mullins hadn't made a 3 all game. It's when you're stepping in, the shot clock's running down or the clock's winding down. There's no thought. You're just stepping in and letting fly. There's zero pressure, and he's the best shooter on the floor, and it just showed right there.
Mm-hmm.
That said, blame. So some of the players late, you just got to make the plays. I think also this team's mentality is they have to have that killer instinct, and they did not have that. We saw them lose when they were up 9 to North Carolina with about 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go.
Yeah,
we saw them lose to Texas Tech up 17 in the second half. They had a chance at the end of that first half and the beginning of the second half to come out and say, like, we've learned from that experience. We are putting these guys to bed. Like, we are not going to let up. We're going to continue to play through Cam. They had no answer for him, whether there was Caravan matchup or the double. They were very successful off of that. Let's continue to get into the paint. Let's continue to cut these guys up. They were very perimeter oriented to start the second half and kind of felt that this game was over. They took the foot off the gas. It's like they didn't learn from those lessons earlier in the season. Shire, I think this is where the challenge is for him, is they had the same problem, obviously, last year with Houston. If you go back 2 years, that team lost to NC State up 9 in the tournament as well, and an 11 seed NC State. I think you got to start beating it into your team's head to be from September, but they get in the campus now in July on. Mm-hmm. We're really good. We're going to blow teams out. I don't want to spend by 10. I want to win by 20, not 20. I want 30, 130, 140. And it's never enough till that buzzer goes off. And we can never have the mentality that it is. And I don't care if that results in them running up the score. They have to learn that as a program, that there is no way you're taking your foot off the gas. We've learned this the hard way now 2 years. And when we had teams that could win a national championship and have failed to even get to the final. So I think that the blame goes all around. I look at it from the players. You could have made the right plays and it'll be all right. I think John's got to have this instilled and carry this forward in the program. This is not going to be our MO. This is not his MO. And to do that, it has to be basically beat into guys' heads from the moment they get on campus, because a lot of them are freshmen. They're going to contribute to his team, and they got to know what has come before can happen to you too, unless we weed that out.
That's a great answer. Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree that UConn was looking to get beat too, and that should have been at least a 25-point lead or 23-point lead at halftime. All excellent points. And what do we do with UConn? And you said it's championship DNA means something. I don't know what to do with them. That they struggle with Furman. They blow the big lead against Michigan State. They got routed twice by St. John's, and Marquette killed them.
Yeah, I will say the championship DNA is real. Like, I believe in that. We saw it. We literally saw it. And Tracy Wolf had a good report early in the second half. He kept saying this is going to be a war. Just letting his guys know that we're not talking about chipping away at the lead and stay calm. Like, no. We're going to go out there and we're going to fight with everything with desperation. And then they did make plays. And he drew a couple things up. The Caravan 3, when he had Cam Boozer on him. So that's the mismatch the other way. They have a simple down screen in the middle of the lane. He hits that big 3 late game. Demery hit big 3s, obviously. It wasn't Danny's best game either. They just willed themselves to do it. So what we make of them right now is they are in the Final Four without having played their best basketball. Save the St. John's game where they blew their doors off about a month ago. Save that. They have really not played their best basketball in months. It's been a while since we've seen them execute offensively at a high level, defensively be elite. You go back to that time when they played Illinois in December. That's when they were kind of at the apex of their season so far, as they were defending really well. Illinois did not handle that physicality very well. UConn was able to crawl up in them and really kind of punch them in the mouth. You are playing in the Garden. That's kind of, that Stores South, so there was a great home crowd for them. And that game was closer than the scoreline indicates. I think Malachi Smith hit a crazy shot clock double clutch from 30 feet that kind of made it 9 points and then it got away. But if that doesn't go in, we're in a tighter game. But they were able to impose their will on that game, physically, defensively, and Illinois couldn't quite keep up. That has to happen again. But they've got to simply put, guys, they got to make shots. Like, I keep saying this about them. It's a simple game. We can X and O till the cows come home. You got to put the ball in the basket. They were 1 for 18 from the 3-point line in that game the other day, and then made, I think, 3 of their last 4 of the last 5 to get 4 of their last 5 to win the game. They need to consistently shoot the ball better, shoot with confidence, continue to run good offense, and play through Terrace Reed. They've had no answer for him. So what I make of it is still they have better to get, and I think it's an easy sell to Danny to his team this week. You're not coming in here floating as these teams have won. We've recently won a national championship. Those teams won championships. You guys have a lot of work left to do, and we if we want to win, we want on a championship. We have to play at a different level. We have to take it to a different level from the tip. We have to sustain it for 40 minutes. We have to be consistent, effort, effective, offensively and defensively. Otherwise, we are going home. We cannot keep surviving these pockets in games of 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes where we do not play well. It's not going to happen.
Well, how about the other game then in the Final Four? And this is the game I think where everybody now, we would like to have it as a national title game, but that's how the chips have fallen here. Do you notice much of a difference between these two teams? Do you see an edge at all? Do you favor one of the other two teams between Michigan and Arizona?
The edge that I think I see is if we're picking our point guards. If I had a closer in the tournament, I said this before the tournament started, it's Jaden Bradley. That's my guy. He's shown it up for them all year long when they needed him to make big plays, especially early before Burry's had it going this season. And then even in their Sweet 16 game, like when it was kind of the issue still in doubt beginning that second half, he came out and really was great. And the Purdue game was great in the beginning of the second half. Like there are moments where he still steps forward. So I think that's their edge. Cadeau has had some tough performances in big spots. Look at that Duke game last month, and sometimes the size and physicality can bother him. Now, Bradley's more comparable his size, but if they switch around, Karchenkov and Burries are much bigger guards. They play a lot of that drop coverage. So if Cadeau is actually making threes, which he has in the tournament, he can be effective. But I think the advantage is that spot. If Cadeau is not playing well, remember they lost LJ Case in their backup point guard. So they're little, in terms of play creators and guys to play through. That's a problem. The wings for Michigan have to be good, have to make shots. And it's the same thing with Arizona. That wing battle is interesting. And this is one of the few teams in the country that physically, internally matches up both at the 4 spot and the 5 spot. Each one of these teams are used to having an advantage somewhere there. Don't really have it. So I do think this is kind of mirror images, able to play at pace if you want to, able to play in a half-court game. So that's when it comes down to execution. Coaching is critical, and I do lean back to your point guard play. Is Cadeau able to have a really good game, be effective, efficient? And if they're going under in that drop coverage, can he hurt them with some threes at times? Sometimes teams even just go under him on ball screens. How does he play out of that? And then conversely, if Bradley is the guy that he's been all year, late game, I'm still hanging my hat there. So I like the Wildcats on the money line.
You're running things at North Carolina. What are you going to do with the coaching search?
We've heard all the names, and I think that's part of this game in today's world is you have to excite the donors. You got to get people on board because there are still really good assistants out there that you could I'm a Steelers fan, so you can go the Mike Tomlin route where you find a guy that's highly regarded, you bring him in, you interview him, he blows you away, and you're like, all right, I'm going to give the keys to the car to this blue chip NFL franchise to this guy, and you have him for 20 years. Last 6 of them, a lot of question marks from me, but we'll leave that aside. It was a good run all in all. And I think you still could have that approach, but it's really hard in modern college basketball to go with somebody that's a leap of faith, not a proven quantity at one of the top 5 positions. So you're going to talk to TJ Otzelberger, although he didn't deflected it before they'd gone out of the tournament. You're going to talk to Tommy Lloyd. The Billy Donovan stuff, I don't understand why you'd ever want to come back to college, but I'm not Billy, and who is also in the Hall of Fame. But if you want to keep coaching, couldn't be a better place to be than going to UNC.
That's
so
right.
All those names are out there. The Nate Oates, Todd Golden, those guys are. Nate and Todd, I think, would be more apt to leave for the NBA job if they could ever have that opportunity. But you need to find a top 5 or top 10 coach in the country right now, and I don't think they're able to invest in an assistant that's making his first time as a head coach. And partially, guys, because they made mistakes organizationally. This was not all on Hubert Davis. Look down the road 8 miles at Duke. As soon as Shire came in, he goes and gets his GM, Rachel Barker. She's done a great job. He goes and makes sure they have their NIL stuff invested. They're crushing it in recruiting. They're bringing in key transfers. They are fully invested in the program. Carolina thought they could just live on the Carolina brand. Like, nah, man, you got to pay money and you got to have plans. And you got to have NIL donors, and you have to have, at that time, we can line up real endorsements on top of just giving you money. Now you kind of have to find some real endorsements. There's all these different things that didn't happen. They just got a GM last year and Jim Tanner. They were kind of behind the 8 ball, and the results showed. So they need to give all the resources from an NIL standpoint, from an assistant coach standpoint, video coordinator, all that stuff to whoever comes in that position, because that's what Duke has. And if that's your rival, supposedly, and that's your peer, you are not operating your enterprise on the level that your peer is.
Yeah, in 5 seconds here, who's playing next Monday night?
Illinois, Arizona. Arizona cuts down the nets.
There we go. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much for the time, as always. We really appreciate that.
Anytime, boys. Be well.
There you go. Dalen Cuff, Progressive Gasoline, does a great job with Turner Sports.
Yep. I think he takes it, Donovan, because he doesn't want to rebuild with the Bulls, and he's got a great situation if he takes it. Juice Reel just dropped an update that makes that impossible with Cappers lying about their records. Connect your books directly into Juice Reel and get in-depth analytics on your own betting. If you're the sharp, others follow your bets. You get paid for helping the community win. Tail proven winners on Juice Reel. It's free. Download it now. Juice Reel, REEL, Juice Reel.
Wait until you hear this story of a guy who has Illinois at 17-1 here at Circa. I'll tell you that story coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We've talked about this several times, going all the way back to when we were doing mornings for many, many years. How Circa, Derek Stevens, Mike Pauly put on these blackjack tournaments several times throughout the entire year. One before the NFL season, in March before the Madness, baseball as well. And what it is, how they operate is they invite their biggest players out to play in a blackjack tournament for 3 days, and it depends on where you end with the chip count. Everybody gets a team in the draft. That's how the tournament actually concludes, right? You won it the first year, did you not? You have the Chiefs?
Yes.
Okay. So I had the Gators last year, Florida, in college basketball. I was picking second. I was back again this year in this tournament, right? So I finished 6th, and I told myself that I had to finish top 4 if I had any chance to win this thing.
It went all 1 seeds and then UConn, top 5 picks?
That is correct. Florida was number 1.
Oh.
Michigan number 2, Duke 3, Arizona fell to number 4.
Oh.
Then UConn, I met Michael. Michael's a great dude, listens to VSiN all the time. He took UConn 5th overall. I'm sitting there at 6th overall, and it was honestly between, I thought of like 4 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State, Kansas, and it came down to really Arkansas and Houston. I went with Arkansas. So, no good. Not going to repeat here. Michigan State, and that was, by the way, first place this year, got a $20,000 ticket to put on any team. And Jonathan took Florida 6-1. That was his reward for finishing first. Pretty good drafts they put on here.
No doubt.
So my ticket was $7,000 on Arkansas at 45-1. That would have been a sweet payday, man. I don't think I'm on the air next Tuesday if Arkansas won the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Michigan State went after me, then Houston. Iowa State went number 9. St. Louis went number 10.
Oh, wow.
At 200, that's a $4,000 ticket at 250-1. Purdue went number 11. Mark had 3,000 at 40-1. I never thought of Purdue.
Good seed.
Our buddy Scotty Tribuca took Wisconsin. David Wood took Kansas. Gonzaga went 14th overall. And then, because you have to show up live for this draft, the person who finished in 15th overall said, the hell with it, I'm not going to show up. The only person who did not show up for the draft finished 15th.
Did you still get to pick?
Well, no, hold on. They skipped them.
Yeah.
So then the person who finished in last place took Vanderbilt at 100-1. They then went back to the person who finished in 15th place, and they gave that person the team that had the best odds to win the national title who had not been selected yet in the draft. So this person who punted on the draft got Illinois.
Come on. It's just like the football one where the Patriots went with the second to last pick.
That's right.
And the guy, you're giving up, though. You're telling me you're giving up. Unless you have to fly out or catch go somewhere.
Yep.
You don't have a valid excuse. I just say, sorry, you can't, you're not part of it then.
Mm-hmm.
You forfeit. And here it's for the second draft in a row. It's going to work out for a no-show.
How about that? So it's a $1,000 ticket at 17-1, but how would you like to scoop? And by the way, you get the amount of the bet back.
Yeah.
So how would you like to just scoop 18,000 out of nowhere?
You're in the Final Four and you're favored.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now, I could have had Illinois 4th overall, but I didn't want them. I think we were on the heels of them getting run out at home against Michigan.
Right. I had no thought. How quiet is this Final What run? Oh, ho-hum, we'll just blow everybody out, and no one's talking about
good
us.
Good point.
Because it's Michigan and Arizona.
Yeah.
And then they take out the what did Iron Eagle say? Cinderella Light? With Iowa, and so here they come in with McCollum, and they don't play well, can't make a shot, and they win by 14. I mean, how good has this team been? And now they're favored, and you got the big boy going against Hurley and UConn. So it's just extraordinary how that worked out for the second draft in a row where you no-show. And, okay, well, we got to give you someone.
Yeah.
We'll give you a Final Four team or the team that went to the Super Bowl and won the AFC.
Yeah. So as we say all the time, if you bet big, you got to get involved with Circa, get a host out here. There's also this. We talked about that bet from Potato Commish on Illinois, 2,500 at 60-1. A bettor at DraftKings put 77,000 on UConn at 13-1.
Yeah. Send them in tomorrow, by the way. Tip jars open. I've already seen several capping off tickets with UConn Final Four. That was very popular.
Oh, UConn just to make the Final Four.
There was a lot of that. The emails have been coming in the last couple of weeks, what they had, and then even more after now what finally cashed. But UConn Final Four was very popular based on the success of the program. And got that too, yes.
There you go.
But yep.
I thought that was a pretty wild story.
It is.
The tanking parlay tonight in the NBA is a 5-teamer. It pays like minus 116. And now here would be the teams that you would have to play against. Mm-hmm. The Grizzlies, they're catching 13 against the Suns. The Bulls are catching 18.5 in that range against the Spurs. The Jazz are 17-point dogs of the Cavaliers, and the Lakers are laying like 16 against the Wizards. Here's the team that I would be sketchy about. Do you trust Minnesota enough?
No, can't do it. Ant's questionable and no McDaniels. And the Mavs finally just won a game. Can't do it. I would throw OKC on there.
Okay.
Against Detroit, and although Williams is out and Hartenstein's out, but this is nuts. San Antonio's on a 26-2 run. They've picked up one game in the standings. Come on. That's asinine.
Oh, man.
Shows you how good OKC is, even with these guys out. But I would throw OKC on there as well. And is this too much for the Lakers?
That's a big number.
Without Luka? You're gonna beat a team by 17, 18 points, and the Cavs are on deck on a back-to-back?
I would only look one way there. But I also look, I mean, there's 15 baseball games. We got a full week of action. I don't think I actually have to get involved with that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on the tanking parlay, though. No Minnesota. And throw OKC on there. The other one I have to ask you, do you trust the Hawks? Are the Hawks good? Because they went to Boston, they hung in there, and then got beat. They're laying 2.5 tonight. Remember, you got to read Makinen every day, VSiN.com. They're 1-7 ATS when they're laying between 1 and 5 at home.
Well, it's also a very quick revenge spot here.
It is.
And the Celtics are coming off of a great game yesterday, winning at Charlotte.
Yes.
So does that all combined make you want to actually lay it here with Atlanta?
Plus, the Celtics know they're going to win the division, but they're not going to catch Detroit for the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So they pretty much know they're the 2 now, with less than 2 weeks left in the season.
I think Atlanta wins this game. I think the division's pretty much over with now anyway. Who's going to catch them? It's a horrible weekend for the Hornets.
Yes.
The Magic are dead team walking the way it appears.
Right, and the Heat, yes. That's also why I like the Heat. The 76ers.
76ers.
Rather. The Heat are really struggling. The Heat got blown out the other night. The Cavs almost put $150 up on them, and Mitchell couldn't make a shot.
Yeah.
It was Strus and Harden and the others. So, I know we do this. It's like we're doing it. We do it every year with the Clippers. I don't know if they get healthy. What? But when you see healthy Embiid, George, Maxey, and Oubre, that's a pretty good team with Grimes.
Yeah.
And they should be able to get whatever they want offensively against the Heat. But it's like Nick Whalen said. There is no way they can go 2 months and something doesn't happen to Embiid.
I don't disagree.
But, man, they should get whatever they want offensively tonight and beat Miami on the road.
Sure, and it's going to look pretty. And they're going to score a ton of points with this super high total.
Yeah.
And people are going to lose their minds thinking, oh, my God, if this team is healthy in the Eastern Conference playoffs, they're going to do some damage. Like, what number would appeal to you to actually hit submit on that? Would you take 30-1? I don't even know if 30-1's out there anymore.
I think you have to take 25. Just because, they could get a 6, they could get a 8 seed.
Yeah.
You're playing Detroit maybe without Cade. You could beat Cleveland or the Knicks. That was a great series.
Would you like the 76ers' chances healthy again against the Knicks in a 7-game series?
Yes.
You would, okay.
They can score.
Yeah.
I think that's worth it. Problem is you're going to have to do all this on the road, though. More from Makinen. 7 of the last 8 Boston-Atlanta games have gone over in Atlanta. Spurs, Bulls, 10-1 overrun head-to-head. And the Suns are 14-2 ATS against these lousy teams.
Oh, let me just
crushed them.
Throw this at you real quick. Do you want to play the Knights tonight on the puck line against the Canucks? The new coach bump?
I do not like this move at all.
I was floored yesterday.
Can you believe this? The guy won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
What, lost the dressing room?
Evidently.
There's 3 weeks left in the season.
I think they have 8 games. Something like that.
I'm not a Tortorella fan. I think he's a lunatic.
Who is?
Oh, he won a Stanley Cup. Well, big deal. I mean, it was 2004. Okay.
Right.
Some of his comments, how he deals with the media.
No, it's
the stuff in Philly. Well, I'm not trying to rebuild and help guys get better and find about myself with coaching. Just bizarre comments.
He's like a stand-up comedian, he thinks. I mean,
every
goes
comment. Off. It's yes. I don't know if this is the right guy to say, okay, come in and turn it around and do it. I mean, I don't know. They do a lot of weird stuff.
Oh, my God, man.
They've won, but they will fire. What they did.
Gallant.
Yes.
Boom, get him out.
You go to the finals in your first season.
Yes.
What have you done for me lately? It's like the Premier League. Tottenham's got like 3 coaches in 6 weeks, what they're doing. I mean, they'll fire you any chance they get. Mm-hmm. We're brought to you by Profit X. Now's the time. The price is way too high, too, by the way. Sign up by April 6th, purchase at least $25, and get a free $25 and jump into their King of March contest. Code VSiNMM. Download it now. Code VSiNMM. Make your first purchase and take your shot at becoming the king of March.
Blaming him for the loss is the easy way out. Real or Fugazi next.